Picture this. You land in Lisbon or Barcelona, you turn off airplane mode and your phone just works. Your maps load, your rideshare opens, your family gets the "we landed safely" message, and your bank's verification code still reaches you when you need it. That's the whole promise of eSIM. Less fumbling with tiny plastic cards, fewer no-service surprises, and a calmer first day in a new country. But retirees from Canada and the US run into a few specific traps. Phones that aren't actually unlocked, data that works, but texts don't. A travel eSIM that's perfect in Portugal, then suddenly doesn't roam into Spain. Or the biggest one, losing access to your home number and breaking your two-factor codes for banking, healthcare portals, and airline logins. If this is the kind of problem you want to avoid, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because I regularly share practical, step-by-step travel tech tips designed specifically for Canadians and Americans traveling or retiring abroad. In this video, the goal is simple. By the end, you'll have a clean, repeatable setup that works for Portugal and Spain, protects your home number, and gives you a backup plan if activation fails at the worst possible time. Stay to the end because I'll share a quick rescue sequence you can run in 2 minutes when your phone says activating forever, plus the one setting that prevents accidental roaming charges from your Canadian or US line. The retiree-ready phone check before you fly. A smooth eSIM setup starts before the airport, and it starts with 3 truths. First, your phone must be unlocked. Second, it must be eSIM capable. Third, you need a way to keep your Canadian or US number alive for calls and texts while your new eSIM handles data. 2 or 3 days before departure, do a quiet device readiness moment. Update your phone's operating system while you're still on home Wi-Fi. Confirm you know your Apple ID or Google password, because eSIM installation sometimes prompts sign-ins and you do not want to guess those in a hotel lobby. Then check your cellular settings and confirm your device supports eSIM. If you're using a newer iPhone or a recent Google Pixel or Samsung Galaxy, you're probably fine, but it's worth verifying in settings rather than assuming. Now do the part that saves retirees the most headaches. Plan your number strategy. If your home number is tied to your banking, your pharmacy, or your doctor's portal, treat that number like a house key. The simplest approach is to keep your Canadian or US line active for voice and SMS, while using the eSIM for data. That way, your verification codes can still arrive, and you can still call your credit card company if you need to. Your phone becomes 2 lines, 1 brain. The home line is identity, the eSIM is internet. Finally, prepare for the "you're tired and jet-lagged" version of yourself. Increase your text size, turn on bold text if it helps, and practice finding your cellular settings quickly. In a pinch, comfort beats elegance. This is your travel phone, not a tech demo. Choosing the right eSIM strategy for Portugal and Spain. There are 2 main paths, a travel eSIM or a local carrier eSIM. Both can work beautifully, but they fit different retiree lifestyles. A travel eSIM is usually the easiest start. You buy it online, install it with a QR code or an app, and you're connected the moment you land. For shorter stays, for multi-city trips, or for people who don't want to stand in a shop line, this is the low-friction choice. The trade-off is that many travel eSIM plans are data-only. That's not a problem if your home line stays active for calls and texts, but it matters if you hope to get a local phone number for restaurant reservations, clinics, or deliveries. A local carrier eSIM can be better for longer stays, especially if you'll be in one country for a month or more, or if you want a local number and local pricing. The trade-off is that it can involve more steps, more identity checks, and sometimes an in-person visit. For retirees, that's not automatically bad. In fact, some people prefer walking into a store, speaking to a person, and leaving with something that's confirmed working. The smart hybrid approach is what most experienced retiree travelers end up using. You start with a travel eSIM for day 1 stability. Then, once you're rested and oriented, you decide whether you want to switch to a local carrier plan. That way, you never have the "I can't get an Uber and I can't call anyone" arrival problem. Install it the calm way before you fly, not after you land. If you want the most stress-free landing possible, install your eSIM while you're still at home, on stable Wi-Fi with a cup of coffee and good lighting. The goal is not to activate data early, the goal is to have the eSIM already loaded on your phone, so activation is a simple on or off switch. Later. On the iPhone, the flow is straightforward. You add an eSIM, scan the QR code or use the provider's app, and then you label the line. Labeling sounds trivial, but it's not. If you label your home line as Canada or USA, and label the new one as Portugal-Spain data, you eliminate almost every travel mistake later. When you're tired, you won't remember which secondary is which. Labels make your future self competent. On Android, the experience is similar, although the menu names vary by brand, the concept is the same. Add eSIM, scan or enter details, label it clearly, and don't panic if it says activating while you're still at home. Many eSIMs fully activate only when they detect a supported network at destination. Now set your defaults like a retiree who values certainty. Decide that your eSIM will be the line for cellular data once you arrive. Decide that your home line will remain the default for calls and SMS unless you intentionally choose otherwise. This one choice is what keeps your bank codes arriving without turning your phone into a confusing maze. Finally, protect yourself from accidental roaming charges on your home line. The safest move is to disable cellular data on the home line and ensure the eSIM is the one providing data while abroad. You can still keep the home line active for voice and SMS, but you don't want it quietly using paid data in the background. Landing in Portugal. The first 30 minutes setup that just works. Portugal is wonderfully retiree-friendly, but your phone doesn't care about charm, it cares about settings. When you land and you're still in the terminal, turn off airplane mode and connect to airport Wi-Fi if it's available. Then go to your cellular settings and turn on the eSIM line you installed. If your provider requires activation, follow their prompts. If it connects quickly, test with one simple task. Open a map, zoom in, and search for your hotel. That test confirms you have real data, not just a connected icon. Now do something most people skip. Set your phone to behave predictably for the rest of the trip. Confirm your eSIM is the data line. Confirm your home line is still available for calls and texts. Then send a single message to a family member, not a long one. Just something like, landed. Data works. That one message is both a test and a comfort. If you plan to stay longer in Portugal, this is where local options can make sense. Many retirees start with a travel eSIM and later switch to a local plan for better value, especially if they'll be based in one region. If you go the local route, be prepared for identity checks when purchasing a SIM or eSIM in-store, and expect that some longer-term plans may involve additional details beyond a simple tourist purchase. Before we move on to Spain, here's the soft practical recommendation that keeps trips smooth. If you want the simplest install now, connect on arrival option, use a reputable travel eSIM provider and keep your Canadian or US line for calls and verification texts. If you'd like, I've put a couple of trusted travel eSIM options in the description, one as a primary pick and one as an alternate, so you can choose based on price, coverage, and how long you're staying. Spain setup and the Portugal-to-Spain crossing trap. Spain is easy once you understand one key point. Not every plan that works in one country will roam the way you expect when you cross a border. If you're using a travel eSIM marketed as Portugal only, it may be designed to work exclusively in Portugal and not roam into Spain. That is not a bug, it's a product choice. So if your itinerary includes both countries, you want either a regional plan that explicitly includes Spain, or a Spain plan you can switch on when you cross the border, or a local Spanish plan once you arrive. When you land in Spain, the setup steps feel familiar. Turn on the eSIM line, confirm it is set for data, open a map, and run the same quick hotel search test. Then do the retiree-specific check, confirm your home number still receives SMS. If you can receive a verification code while your eSIM is providing data, you have the golden configuration. Now, for retirees spending extended time in Spain, a local carrier eSIM can make sense, especially if you want a local number. The main national operators do support eSIM, but the exact process can vary between contract and prepaid customers, and between online and in-store activation. The practical takeaway is this: if you prefer a local plan, build in one daytime errand early in your stay to handle it calmly, rather than trying to solve it at 7 p.m. when you're hungry and tired. If you're planning to move between Portugal and Spain regularly, keep one more reality in mind. EU's roam-like-at-home rules generally apply when you have a SIM from an EU operator and you're roaming within the EU, but there are still fair use policies and plan-specific limits. In normal retiree travel use, it's rarely a problem, but it's one more reason to choose a plan that clearly matches how you'll actually live, not how you hope you'll live. The 2-minute rescue plan when activation goes wrong. Let's handle the moment nobody wants. You have no service, or your eSIM shows a network but nothing loads, or it sits on activating as if it's thinking about it. First, restart the phone. It's boring, and it works more often than it should. Second, confirm you are using the eSIM for cellular data, not your home line. Third, confirm the eSIM line is turned on, and that you have not accidentally disabled it while toggling settings. Fourth, toggle the eSIM line off, wait 10 seconds, and toggle it back on. If that doesn't work, go one step deeper. Turn on airplane mode for 10 seconds and turn it off. Then check whether your eSIM has a setting for automatic network selection and try toggling that. Sometimes the phone latches onto a weak network and never tries the stronger one until you nudge it. If you still have no data, connect to Wi-Fi. Open the eSIM provider's app or support instructions, and confirm whether your plan requires a manual APN setting. Many don't, but when they do, it explains everything. And here's your real retiree safety net. Always keep a second way to get online. That can be airport Wi-Fi, hotel Wi-Fi, a trusted companion's hotspot, or even a small travel router if you like gadgets. Your goal is not to be clever. Your goal is to never be stranded without a way to contact someone, confirm directions, or access your bookings. Retiree security settings that prevent the worst-case scenario. Your phone is not just a phone on this trip. It is your map, your wallet, your boarding pass, and sometimes your medical lifeline. That means your eSIM setup should include a security setup. Before you leave home, ensure Find My or the Android equivalent is enabled and tested. Set a strong passcode, not just a simple 4-digit one. Make sure your lock screen does not display sensitive message previews if that worries you. And write down, on paper, the phone numbers you would need if your phone disappeared, your bank, your credit card company, and a trusted family member. If the phone is lost or stolen, paper is what saves you when you can't access your contacts. Also, keep your identity flow stable. If your Canadian or US number is critical for two-factor codes, don't gamble with it. Keep it active, keep it reachable, and keep data off on that line so it doesn't surprise you. Let the eSIM do the heavy lifting for internet while your home number quietly stays available for the important moments. And remember the travel reality. Stress comes from uncertainty. Your job is to remove uncertainty before it appears. Right before we close, a quick practical note. If you want to save time and reduce headaches, I've linked the recommended eSIM options I use for retiree-style travel in the description, along with a simple, setup checklist you can follow on your phone step by step. Using those links is a small way to support the channel, and it also gives you a faster path to a setup that's already been tested by travelers. In closing, here's the retiree edition in one sentence. Keep your Canadian or US number for identity and texts. Use an eSIM for data. Install it before you fly. And build yourself a backup plan for day one. If you found this helpful, subscribe for the rest of this series, because next we'll cover the real-world settings that preserve WhatsApp and iMessage perfectly while abroad, plus the simplest way to avoid surprise charges when you hop between countries. Until then, travel calmly, stay connected, and keep your home number protected.